John, nice to see us. I mean, we're together, like Laurel and Hardy.
How's it going, bud?
Nobody on this call knows Laurel and Hardy other than me.
I know Laurel and Hardy.
I want to see if they sent out.
Oh, listen, I'm no more Sherry than Chase is Chase. That is definitely not Chase. She has way more hair than Chase does.
Yes, I don't know why it defaults to him. It did on my home one from last week too. I'll get that updated.
And here we go. John, I need to make you co-host, right?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Make co-host. You get to be the gatekeeper.
Admit all. All right. Incoming, a whole bunch.
Is that Ginger in the hat? I can't tell. Hi, Ginger. Yes, I see now. Nice to have you. Orlando. Oh, you're not Orlando from Orlando
Hey.
only in the morning.
Hey, Denny, by the way, a little change in the winter from this morning.
What happened?
Well, Steve Ryan happens to be a MAPS coach, so he doesn't need the coaching session. So we redrew, and the winner is Orlando from Orlando.
Well, there you go.
Let's go.
So, Orlando, you've got my email.
Yes.
Shoot me an email, and my assistant Kirby will get with you on a time next week. All right, buddy?
Thank you.
All right.
So welcome everybody. Denny Grimes here. It is Friday. It is Friday, not only Friday, it's Friday, August 4th already. Can you believe it's August? You walk outside in Florida or maybe in Scottsdale, Tucson, you probably know it's summer. And welcome to Recon. Welcome to the mastery level real estate, Denny Grimes and John McLeod. How are you, John?
I'm doing great. I got a little reprieve from TL 306090 today, so I can come out here and play.
That's
And
awesome.
we just got done serving lunch to 50 or 60 police officers and firemen here on Marco Island. Had a lot of fun.
Well, that sounds like fun. And tell you what, we're going to have some fun here too. On Fridays, we get to go a little bit deeper into the methodology of handling objections. We're going to go and handle whatever objections you want. And as we always do, if you actually have your hand up and you participate, or maybe you have an objection you would like to have heard, that we can do. If you participate in today's call, we're going to combine this week and next week of all the people who participate. And we're going to have a drawing next Friday for a 30-minute coaching call with me, and John and I both alternate that. So we do practice mastery level, question-based, listening-enhanced conversations. I trust you already know about my mastery level YouTube channel, 200 plus videos. You can go and study and bone up on how to have better conversations. If you have your camera handy, that is a QR code. If you don't have it and you want to share it with someone, that is the QR code to our mastery level that you're on today. And I see some familiar faces, John. John and I get to warm up each and every day with Recon at 9:30 to 10 o'clock as we do conversational role play. Recon is real estate conversations. That's daily and that's also free. And that you want to take a picture of, and we'll see you on Monday. So we had probably a pretty good call today, John. I wish I had, maybe Louise is on the call. I don't know if I see her yet. There were some objections that were already put in from Arne, 5 or 6 different ones. Do you have those, John?
Yep. You want me to list them or put them in the chat?
Put them in the chat there, and we'll go. And
Louise is here. She might even have them typed up. She just showed up.
Yeah, Louise.
The camera's on, so that's the whole thing.
Well, Louise and Orlando from Orlando, they don't do real estate anymore. They're a professional role play conversationalist each and every day when we have role play. So can't be more fun.
All right, Denny, I'm going to start putting them in the chat right now.
All right. So I've got Jose's up, Orlando is up. Who else want to put their hand up? Jenny, I want to get you on my calendar. Did you reach out to me, please?
Sure. I think you asked me for my number and I sent it to you in the email.
Probably a dangerous thing to just do it one more time. I lose things.
Okay. Okay,
Coach Denny Grimes at Gmail. All
okay.
right, so we're going to go ahead and start if you want. John, who's going to be our first contestant?
You know what? I'm going to switch it up today. We're going to start with Jose Diaz. First step, Jose, there you go. Unmute yourself. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it, John. So the objection that I have, and this is my first time joining this session, my MAPS coach, Monica Reynolds, recommended this because I was looking to get better and sharpen skills. But one of the biggest objections I get right now from home sellers when I'm prospecting is interest rates are too high and they're better off staying with their current, mortgage if they have one with the current interest rates, or, they can't buy something better than what they have due to current rates, and that's one of the biggest objections that I'm getting right now.
Fine. We can handle it now. Jose, yes, I was on that email chain. Monica is coaching with my team too. What an awesome coach. Thanks for joining us. We refer to the model a lot. And if you can, maybe you want to pin me, not so much because of me. However, I always have something kind of cool behind me on the screen. Notice the model that we practice. Acknowledge, isolate, answer, close. And we've done interest rates a lot. So I'll tell you what, if you maybe, John, do you think we should model or let Jose just dive right into the pool?
Let's let him jump in and test it out. Let's see where he goes with it first.
So Jose, can you see the timer behind me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so we try to keep it under 3 hours. No, 3 minutes for the role play, and we like it question based. All right, and so give us your best shot. Who's that? Pat Benatar, John, and let's see how it goes. I will be the buyer. Go.
You're the seller.
Yeah.
You're
who's the seller? I'm the seller, or John's the seller?
Well, it sounds to me like it's a seller buyer, because the way you said it, Jose, was they have a lower interest rate. Why should they move to a different house now?
Yes, that's a lot of what I get. Yeah.
Okay, so this is you have to figure out whether you have a buyer or a seller first. So, because at this point you don't know.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
John.
that's a great-
You can be the seller, maybe buyer. Go. You're at the table, Jose. You're at the table.
Got it. So, hi, is this John?
Well, actually, you're sitting down face to face with Denny. He's going to be your.
Oh, okay.
You guys are right across the table. Have a cup of coffee. Go.
Got it. All right. So, hey, Denny, how are you today? Thank you for meeting with me. I just wanted to, see if we can get your house on the market. I know that you want to sell this property and you're looking to possibly buy another property. And the last time we spoke, you hadn't committed to it yet because you weren't really sure that you could get something as good of a house that you have, as you have today, and with interest rates being what they are and your current interest rate being pretty low. I know that that was one of your issues, but I'd like to kind of dive a little deeper with that today and see if we can have a solution for you, because ultimately I do believe that you want to move because your family size is growing, and one of the reasons you want to sell is because you want a bigger home.
That's right. And of course, when we talked, we're actually further away from that. The interest rate just popped up again. And so it just doesn't make financial sense to give up 3% to get a 7% loan.
Yeah, I could totally understand that, Denny. But one of the things that I'd like to point out to you is that when you go to sell in this market, your house is also appreciated as well. So while interest rates have gone up, the market's pretty crazy, and so has your home price going up. And you can use that to hedge a lot of those interest rates that you're getting right now. So you'll be able to, put down a bigger down payment and be able to equalize, hopefully, the kind of payment that you have now. So, I don't see the market changing for the immediate future. And it definitely feels like
Yeah, I'm just in the middle of a
need.
Not a problem. I'm talking to my wife. She's going to take care of everything.
Sorry.
That's right, John. That's right. So we're
Sorry, but I'm colorblind. I don't know whether it's on or off.
That's okay. Just don't be talking bad about me when it's on. Okay, so I'm going to stop.
Okay.
Now, are we here to learn, Jose? We here to learn.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, so and everybody starts somewhere. Just going back a little bit, let me and John model this just for a moment, and so everyone understands the difference of question based. Now, we may know a lot of stuff. However, I think we get further in our relationships when we ask. And so just a couple things, because we've got some new people here on the call. We talk in terms of the model. Acknowledge, I understand, isolate. Other than that, is there any other reason why you want to move forward? We get clarity, and then we address and close. Now, we use one more metaphor. If I can find it here real fast, I'll have the slide behind me. It's very simple. The isolate and clarify is first base. And I know, which is fine. You assume in the role play, you just assumed because we had a conversation why I wanted to move. However, if you didn't know that, everyone, we have to understand the motivation. Jose, you did a smart thing and just kind of laid it into the role play. However, there's a pain. So John, would you go ahead and be the seller here for a moment?
Sure.
And let me model this. And I want you to count the number of questions I ask, and I'll go back to my timer if I can find it here real quick, which is, I'll just reset this, and then we'll go at it again. Reset, start. So,
right.
So John, I heard what you said. You said, now you're a little concerned because you have 3% versus 7%. That's kind of cooled you off. Am I hearing you right?
Yep.
Now count questions. That's one. Other than that, is there any other reason why you wouldn't want to move forward into the bigger home with a backyard, all those things that we already discussed?
No, that's really it.
Okay. So now the next step is, okay, so all right, so let me ask you, is it the interest rate or is it the monthly investment that concerns you?
Well, kind of both, because they're related.
Okay, well, I know that 3 to 7 sounds like, okay, that's a lot and more than double. However, what's your monthly investment right now, John?
Spent about $2,000.
And then moving into the larger home under the newer rate, the higher rate, what would your monthly investment be then?
I honestly don't know. The loan would be probably about $450,000. So, I mean, I know I'm going up in loan, but the loan will be about $450,000.
Now I stop right there. Now I haven't made a statement yet. I want you to count the number of questions I'm asking. Now, most people will not know. They just know 3 to 7 is double, more than double. Therefore, their payment went double. Most people you're going to be talking to have not quantified it. And unless you quantified it, it's like you're trying to pick up mercury. You can't grab it. So we have to find something solid to nail into. Now, John is like Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man. You drop a box of matches on the floor, he'll tell you how many they are. He's a number guy. So John, really quick, what would be, I'll finish the role play, but you're sitting there. If you have a financial calculator, you could do it. What's a rule of thumb very quickly to help them understand what the monthly investment, notice I'm not saying payment, would be from a house at $450,000?
Right now, you're looking at about $600 per thousand, 700 per thousand. By the way, the monthly payment on that's $3,150 on the 450,000.
So we can accelerate this. However, John and I both believe on your phone. I'm an old fogey. I carry a HP 12C, but I mean, if they're selling something, they're going to put money down. So it does depend on how much they're going to put down, right? So let's just assume that the difference between the 3% rate they're paying now, and they're going to buy a bigger house probably because they want more space. The monthly difference is going to be, let's say, $900 a month. Fair enough?
And that's about in this scenario where it will be.
So I'll take the next minute and 40 seconds and see if I can move this a little closer to making it work. Count the questions. So John, so if we do the quick math on that, let me just start this again. If you do the quick math on that, you say you're investing $2,000 now, it's going to be about a monthly investment of $2,900.
Okay.
Is that affordable for you?
Yeah, it's affordable.
Okay. And so let me ask you then, is if you take that and by the way, You wanted to buy a bigger home. Let's just assume the interest rates were the same. You wanted a bigger home, correct?
Yeah,
Well, if you want a bigger home, then chances are you would have had to invest more money. So you were going to pay more than $22,000 a month. You were willing to do that, right?
yes.
What was the number you had hoped for?
We were thinking it was gonna be 2,600.
Now I'm going to stop just for a second. We always talk about reducing to the ridiculous. And whenever you're having a rate conversation, you've got to get it to dollars, because dollars, are emotional, rates aren't. And now it's logical that, hey, I want to get rid of my, 1982 Rambler, and I want to get a Corvette. I'm going to pay more money for my car. So what I did is I took that $900 difference and sliced $500 off of it. And what you're doing is just like a commission objection. You're reducing it to a point. That's why I call it reduced to the ridiculous. And so, John, I'll let you do it because you're good with the math. Now there's a $400 delta. You're good with the math. So you got 58 seconds, land the plane.
All right, so Denny, it looks like from what we're talking about here, your difference is about $400 a month. Is that right?
Yeah, if I was going to pay $2,500, yeah, I get you $400 a month.
Okay, so I guess I have a couple questions for you. When you go back and you look at your reasons for wanting to move, would you pay a couple bucks a day, 10, 12 bucks a day to make that happen?
Well, I don't know. Where do you get the 12 bucks a day?
You take 31 days in a month, multiply by 12, it's about $400.
See, even if you're not good with math in your head, have a calculator. Now, the decision, I'm going to stop this because we're ready to move on to something else. Stop, reset. The decision is not the decision between 3% and 7%. The decision is $12 a day. Can you all see that? So your kids are going to go to a better school for 12 bucks a day and have a backyard, and you can raise alpaca on the extra acre.
By making this move, where are you saving 12 bucks a day in other expenses? There's so many different ways you can go down if they're truly hung up on it. The bottom line is most people don't see that the change is as small as it really is.
Exactly. So we can step back and let somebody else do it. Then we can, if you want to bring Jose back in and see if he can follow what we've just done, that's okay too. So you got other hands up, John.
Oh no, he's nodding his head. Let's give Jose another crack at it. We got an hour, not a half an hour, so let's give him another crack at it.
Okay, so I'm going to cut your time in half. You don't have to go back through all of the other stuff we're talking about right now. I'm just saying, hey, look, interest rate 7%, and I don't want to give up my 3%. Go.
Great. Hey, Denny. So I heard you when you said that, you got a current interest rate on your current mortgage for 3%, and you don't want to give it up. So you don't want to go to 7% interest rate. Is that correct?
Correct.
Great. And can I ask you a question, Denny?
Yeah.
Oh, great. So what's your current mortgage payment now?
$2,000.
$2,000. Great. And what were you looking to pay on your new bigger home? What was the monthly rate you were thinking you were going to end up spending there?
Well, I figured it'd be like maybe $400 or $500 more.
About $400 or $500 more. So you are okay with paying $2,500, right?
Yeah. See, now you're playing the game right. Yeah.
Great, Denny. I appreciate that. So, looking at the current homes in the market that meet the requirements that me and you talked about, and looking at that payment, it sounds like your mortgage payment would probably be somewhere around $3,150, which isn't too far from the number you felt comfortable at. So I want to ask you, are you willing to let go of, that property that you were so interested in for about $400 or $500 more a month?
Well, that seems like a lot of money.
It might seem like that, but if you took that amount of money, Denny, and you divided that on a daily basis, you'd be paying about $15 a day. Now, would you want to rob your family of the future that you see them living in
Oh my gosh,
$15
dagger
a
in
day.
the heart. Oh my gosh, I'm crying. Give me the Kleenex. Now, I'll let John, you've got one thing to work on, and John's gonna tell you what it is.
Sure.
Was that not a bazillion times better than just gushing a bunch of stuff they did the first time? Give him a thumbs up, you guys. John.
It was awesome. Denny, I'm not sure what you were referring to with Jose. The one thing I'm going to say is when you're repeating things back, you don't have to do the 14 sentences he gave you.
Okay.
Okay. And yes, we want to acknowledge, and acknowledge is letting them know we understand them, but you don't have to go back verbatim.
It was his repeating of great.
Yeah,
great.
exactly. And that's in there. Mindy's got that in there. If you look in the chat, it plays great with okay.
Okay.
Bounce, if you're going to have a word that is your security blanket, have 3 or 4 of them and alternate. Okay, because all of a sudden, great. Denny's is awesome.
There you go. That was night and day difference, dude.
Yep.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, we're going to go to the first person with their camera on, and that would be Sheila.
Louise, what's the deal? Are you in a tanning bed or something? What are you doing? All right, Sheila, let's go.
Great.
Sheila, you
What
can
are-
pick your own, or we can give you a wild card.
Give me a wild card.
All right, Denny, it's going to be number 1 on the list.
All
Number
right.
1 on our list is you're too busy. You have so many listings. We want someone that can give us the attention we need.
All right. So Orlando, you were on the call this morning. You can be that potential seller.
All right.
Here we go. Go.
Sheila, I like what you're saying, but I just think that you're too busy to work with us.
Other than you thinking that I'm too busy to work with you, is there any other concerns that you have from the presentation that I showed you today?
No, like I said, we want someone that gonna be able to, when we have a question, get back to us. And it just seems like with all your signs up, you're just too busy.
Well, I can appreciate that concern. And, I probably did not do a good job of explaining exactly how I operate and how I work. And, I want to let you know that I have a team that helps me in the event that I have an overflow situation. But I also want to let you know that I return calls every single day. There is not a call that doesn't get returned, an email that doesn't get returned, or a text that doesn't get returned unless it's after business hours, then it'll be returned the next day. So my responsibility, not only to you as a seller, but to my other clients, is that I'm very responsive. And so anything that can be leveraged out that has nothing to do with, being interactive with clients, I'm leveraging out to my team. So that actually frees me up to be in front of you and be at your service, much more easier than I have been in the past.
So I'm going to raise my hand and pause the timer. Is that okay? Now,
Yes.
Sheila, are you asking or telling?
I guess I was telling, yeah.
Now, you guys, does that sound like selling to you? So I stopped. You still have plenty of time. So that's like if you walked into a restaurant and hey, I'm glad you're hungry. Let me tell you what you should order. This is why you should order it. Why don't you, if you were going to get into curiosity and quit selling, what might you want to know? Based on that objection, what would be a great question to start with?
What is it that makes you think that I'm too busy?
Now, that's awesome. Now, when he answers that, you could layer it. John's he's got like this bean dip, a taco dip, like 5 layers deep. You could layer that question and get a little deeper with it. You don't have to. However, if he gives you clarity, is there a better chance you're going to be talking about what's interesting to them?
Yes.
Any other final coaching before we let her go back at it, John?
Just the acronym I was going to say for Jose, and we'll put it out there now, is the word wait. Why am I talking? We get stuck in that. We feel like we need to talk. In that, Denny, would you move to the side? How many, in that minute 12, you asked one question. And then the rest of the time you were talking. So just like Denny said, ask questions. Let him do all the talking.
You ready? You ready to go back at it?
Sure.
You don't have to repeat anything. Start asking questions. Go.
Orlando, What makes you think that I am too busy for you other than you seeing signs in the ground?
You know, like I said, when I see signs all over the place, it just seems like you're dedicated to your other clients. And again, if we have a question, we want to be able to reach out to you. We actually had a bad experience with an agent once where they were listing my parents' house and they never got back to them. And we just don't want to be in a position where we're not getting the feedback that we want and to get our home sold.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Is there any other concerns that you have about the communication you have with your agent?
Nope.
And what is the best method of communicating with you? What is the most important factor about the communication you have with your agent?
Again, it's just like a timely response. A text message would be fine. Just something to acknowledge that you acknowledged our question.
Okay, so just a response back that, hey, I saw that you had reached out. I'm busy with a client. I'll get back to you at some point in time. That type of a response is acceptable in communicating back to you?
Yeah, that would work. We understand that you're busy.
Great. And what do you consider too long of a time to not get a response back?
No more than 24 hours.
Perfect, great. And outside of any of those concerns, is there any reason you wouldn't move forward with me today?
No. I
Great.
think, like I said, you said everything that we were looking for, and if you can be open with your communication, we could move forward.
Sounds great. I could definitely think we can do that.
Wow, wasn't that better, you guys? And Orlando was just super sweet. Didn't give you too hard a time. So how did that feel?
It felt better. And I actually, inside when I heard the word wait, inside it did something that calmed me for some reason. And I just didn't get too anxious about trying to figure out what the next thing was. It was more about listening and letting the conversation dictate where I should go from there instead of trying to figure it out in my head. This is where I should be going with this conversation. Instead of me directing it, I let him direct it.
Right. The last thing I'll say, and then I'll let John say whatever he wants to say. I mean, you can get too deep into clarity. However, generally speaking, when you go several layers deep and get clearer, and they're talking more than you are getting closer to winning. John.
Okay, so Sheila, I'm going to go back to your opening line, the very first time you did this with Orlando. You said, other than that, is there any other questions you have about the presentation? No. No questions about the presentation, but you didn't ask if he would do business with you. Other than that, is there anything from keeping us moving forward and working together? Ask for the close. We get tied up in little things. Just ask for the close. Don't ask to validate whether he liked your presentation.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, Denny, we got random number coming up.
Oh boy. Okay.
All right, who wants to step into the fire? Louise, you got your hand up. Are you able to play?
You're muted, in case you don't know. I don't know what she's doing, but normally she's on.
All right,
Hand is up.
Orlando's up.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right, Orlando, you got it. We can always come down in price later, Orlando.
Who am I working with?
Me.
Oh, okay.
Good for you.
John, other than we can come down in price later, is there anything stopping us from working together and me going to work for you today, sir?
No, nothing else.
Great. John, would you be okay if I came over and just sat right next to you and give you a little bit of insight as to why it's important to work with me?
No, that wouldn't be okay. I don't like my space invaded.
Okay, that's fine. I like to show you three possible outcomes, right? And basically, the first one is the property has low to no showings. What do you
Okay.
think that means, John?
I'm going to stop just for a second. That's okay, Orlando. I mean, we're working on this. This is the outcome sheet that we talk about all the time. If you don't have it, you should have it. Somebody will probably put it in the chat. This is why you practice. Now, Orlando, do you feel like you maybe missed a couple of steps in that transition.
Yeah.
So just to bring you up to speed, because you wanted to move, all right, so this is where he was going, isolated. The question is, okay, so you wanted to start, so if we can agree on a starting price, an initial asking price, are you ready to do business with me today? Now that's the close that John was talking about just a moment ago with Sheila. Now, if he says no, let me ask you, then don't you have to go back and do some other work? He said yes. Okay, I'm happy to do business with you. Then this is where you're going, Orlando. Well, all right. So now that we've agreed, knucklebump, now that we've agreed to work together, now what you've done is just walk down the aisle right then and said, I do. You've got a kind of a commitment, don't you?
Yeah.
So now let me just move my chair, and it can be figuratively on your side of the. Do you mind if I just counsel you a little bit on strategic positioning? Now you got to that point. Now he's going to get ready to go into the outcome. So I want you to take it from there. And don't forget, you're just not going through the outcomes. You're going to ask, do you know what that means? And then explain it. Okay, go.
Yeah. So, John, what I was saying was, 3 things can happen when we list your property.
One of 3 things.
One of the 3 things can happen as we list your property. The first one is the property receives little action, basically low to no showings. John, what do you think that means? What do you think the market's telling you?
Well, I guess it could mean that the price is too high or you're not doing your job.
I could understand that. John, when you say I'm not doing my job, what are you referring to? Can you clarify that for me?
You're not marketing it.
Okay. John, if I could show you a way that we were marketing it properly with the metrics and the data, would you be open to hearing about that if that's a real concern of yours?
That should help. That should help with my concerns.
Okay, cool. So the second opportunity is, John, we come in with that price. The property has showings, but it has no offers. What do you think that means at that time?
I don't know. Maybe everybody's looking for decorating ideas because my wife is so awesome at it.
If that were only the case, right? Ideally, again, it goes back to the market is telling us something. John, at what point do you think we would need to reposition ourselves in order to speak to the market?
What's outcome 3?
Oh, sorry. And then the third outcome is the property sells. John. Okay. What if we are in those first 2 positions? How long will it take for you to re-strategize or pivot where we could position ourselves better in the market?
I don't know. When do you think we should? When do you're the expert? You tell me. How long does it take to know whether we're price right or not?
Okay. Well, John, let's go back to what we want to sell this house, right? And you want to get to where again with your wife?
Everyone take note. I'm giving him a thumbs up. That's why you understand second base. That's why you understand motivation. You've got to take them back to the whole reason they're doing this. Nice job. Keep going.
Yeah, you know what? We want the extra space and the land for the dogs to run around and kill our own rabbits instead of our neighbors' rabbits.
That sounds like a great plan. But John, how soon are you looking to get there?
Would like to be, honestly, I'd like to be there in a couple months.
In a couple months? Okay. So John, what do you think is a realistic time that we have this property sitting on the market and the market is telling you that it's not working with the potential buyers?
I don't know. I guess if we want to be there in a couple months, then we should probably make a decision in, a couple weeks or a month.
All right,
Okay.
time. John, I'll let you do the debrief.
All right, it's Orlando getting better. It's just it's a matter of practice at this point. All right. And Denny, you brought up a great point. This is why we want to know motivation, so we can bring them to that point of pleasure and then rip it out from underneath them. Because you got to do the takeaway. If you don't do the takeaway, you don't have the leverage.
Well, part of the pain, you guys, pain is third base, right? The pain is them not going to where they want to go. And guess what? We never have to talk about motivation when they want to go there. All right, so let's say you're taking your kids to Disneyland or wherever they want to go, right? They want to go. I mean, they're not going to give any pushback. Motivation is the tool. Write this down. Motivation is the antidote to pushback. So good second half of that, Orlando. Good job. And it is easier to go through the 3 outcomes when you have the sheet. So I know you don't have it in front of you right now, so I understand that. All right.
I did put it in the chat, Denny. Everyone can scroll up and download it. Or scroll down and download it, depending on where you are. All right, and Denny, just so you know, I need to leave in about 10 minutes. I've got something at the office I got to take care of. But next up is Louise, and she has spun lucky number 6, which is, I'm okay right now. I'm renting a place that I like.
Wow, that's a new one. Good for Louise.
And you can be the renter, Denny.
Oh, Ruby. Okay.
Do you want to dive in or start from the beginning?
But, oh yeah, just, hey, I don't need to buy I'm kind of happy with my rental right now. I'm close to the beach. I can never afford to live here.
Okay. Well, Denny, what would be the reason you would want to own versus rent?
See, it's going to motivation. That's tricky.
But let me ask you this, other than,
Okay, no, that's, I'm sorry, keep going. You're going to isolate, okay?
yeah, other than you're feeling that it would be too expensive to own, is there any other reason you wouldn't purchase today?
Well, I mean, I couldn't get what I've got now to own. I mean, I'm close to the beach, and so I kind of like that. If I were going to buy here, I couldn't afford it. So that's my situation.
Okay, so other than,
No, that's it. If you can find me a beach condo, if I could live like Dookie Howser in a motorhome outside the hospital, I'll do it.
okay, I understand. And what would be the reason you would like to own versus rent?
Well, if I could own, I mean, I've seen how much these things have gone up in value in the last few years, and that would be kind of cool to be able to start building some equity.
Okay, so Denny, what do you feel, what is it that you pay for rent now?
2,400, including utilities.
Okay, and what would you be prepared to, what would you be comfortable paying to own?
Well, I could afford probably more than that. I mean, I haven't really sat down to look at it, but the rent's very comfortable to me.
Okay. Is there a number that you would not feel comfortable exceeding to own?
I wouldn't want to pay more than 3,500 probably.
All right, so 3,500 and you're paying 2,400 now. So the difference is 1,100, is that right?
Right.
Okay. And if we were able to find a comparable place within a comparable distance to the beach for 3, 6, 9, for about $12 more a day, would that make sense to you?
So it's cool. I mean, here's the thing I want you to notice if you're kind of new to this. The more someone's been working with John and I and Jen, the rest of us, you notice how all the questions come. There's not a big laundry list of things. Now, the more you practice, the easier the questions get. So great job with that. And I know there's like almost 3 minutes gone. The only
Well,
thing
that's why I didn't go to the delta again. I just went to the ridiculous portion per day.
Yeah, but we need to stay on this objection a little bit. And maybe somebody else can do it, is that you went to the ridiculous when the ridiculous wasn't the objection yet. I already conceded I would pay that. So why are you breaking it down?
The objection is their inventory, basically.
Well, here's where it's going to be. Now you're getting, you follow me, John, on this?
Oh, yeah. Denny, the question that I wrote down that I think she had a great opportunity and dropped the ball on it was, how much would you be willing to invest monthly to own what you have?
Well, okay, so that's only half the sandwich, because I think the other question is, what would it cost you on a monthly basis to own this proximity to the beach? Because if I say, well, yeah, I would pay 3,500 for it, John, if it were available. Let's just assume it's not. Now we have the corundum. Is that the right word? Now we have the objection. It's going to be $5,000 a month for me to have that proximity to the beach. How would you handle that, John?
And you're only paying 2,400 for it now?
Yes.
I'd have a hard time with that one, because I'm sitting here saying, if I'm paying $2,400 a month now, and it's gonna cost me 2,600 more, I would probably spin the conversation. So if you're willing to spend the money, why don't you go buy an investment property and let that cover your rent and the mortgage on the other one, and you can live for free. I may look for another path, because doubling your monthly cost to live somewhere seems to me that especially when you said you weren't willing to go that high. The question is now the question Denny wants you to ask is, this $5,000, is it a comfort zone or an ability? Are you just not comfortable paying it, or are you not able to pay it?
So, so now John is slicing and dicing it. And again, we do things here like in 3 minutes. And that's a little unrealistic. So we can handle that objection. The issue is going to be, there's something a buyer might be willing to invest. And then there's a reality. That's when you want to reduce it to ridiculous. And so I won't take a lot of time on this, but I would take it down the road. If I just go to you, Louise, and you are the one that's renting this house for 2,400. So let me ask you then, okay, so how long have you been renting this house close to the beach?
4 years.
And so do you know what you could have bought this home for 4 years ago?
Oh, I don't even want to have to think about that.
All right, so let's just assume it's, 150. Now it's 550. So would you like to be able, because you said you don't want to give up your proximity necessarily, and you'd like to grow equity. Well, if you could only have one of those, which one would you take?
One of them being proximity or equity.
Yeah.
I like the beach, the proximity.
Okay, so what you're saying then, you would rather rent, and so you're paying, you're paying $30,000 a month in rent, and in 4 years, you've got, what's that, $120,000 in rent you've paid to be close to the beach, and you're saying no to the $350,000 of equity buildup. So in essence, would it be fair to say, John, it cost you $350 plus $120 to live there?
That's absolutely fair.
I don't want to get lost in the weeds on the numbers, because this is a kind of a far out example, and I kind of weaved a little bit of a rat's nest on this. So, however, we could do it again. Let's just do it again and find somebody else that would be a better fit for probably the tenant, John.
Okay, so while Jenny's got her hand up.
Well, I had an objection that I wanted to address. So.
Okay, so then let's go to Mindy, see if she will get to you back in a second on your particular one, Jenny. Mindy, you want to jump in and do this one with Louise, the Louise was just handling?
The rental one?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the only way to get better, I guess. Yeah.
That's how you get better. All right, Denny, you're still the renter.
No, pick somebody else.
All right.
Start.
Sandra Marconi's the renter.
All right, Sandra? Nice.
Denny, how are you?
Good to see you. She rents a lot of property, and so now you've already wasted 10 seconds. Go.
All right. So, Sandra, what was important to you about renting versus owning?
Well, at the time that we rented, our credit score wasn't good enough to buy.
Okay. And Is your credit score, has your credit score improved?
I mean, I would hope, but I really don't know.
Okay, if your credit score is high enough so that you could purchase now, is there any reason that you wouldn't buy now?
I think the interest rates are going to probably put us in a holding pattern.
I see. And what do you think is going to happen when interest rates go down what do you think is going to happen to home prices and competition with other buyers when interest rates go down?
I'm sure there will be more out there, but there will also be more homes to hopefully look at as well too.
Okay. And what if it takes so what interest rate would you be comfortable then to begin your home search?
Well, I mean, I'd love to have a 2.75, but we know that's not going to happen again. So if we could get back in the 3s or low 4s, that'd be awesome.
And what's going to happen if how you feel if the interest rates don't go down to 3, or 4%? How long are you willing to wait to see if that happens?
I mean, we're fine in our home that we're in now. The rent hasn't gone up, so I don't know that we'd really there's no real big push to get into a home.
I see. How much are you paying for rent right now?
$3,500.
$3,500. And if you could pay $3,500 to own a home, build equity and build wealth, is that something that you would consider?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I could show you how we could do that, are you ready to get started today?
Can you show me how to do that?
Absolutely.
How can you do that?
Well, I could open up the multiple listings. We'll pick a home that you like. We'll put it into a mortgage calculator at today's interest rates. And I can show you how we can find you a home at that price point.
But then how are we going to know that I'm going to qualify for that home?
Oh, well, I'll definitely connect you with lenders. There are many lenders that I work with, or you can find one on your own. So
Okay.
can I go ahead and send that information to you today and we can do a calculation as well?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Sandra, welcome back. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, Denny.
And if you think I'm tough, I mean, that would not be a lay down right there. Good pace on the questions. Now, the only thing I'm going to add, and I'll let John go into it a little deeper if he'd like, is that, well, she asked a qualifying question. That is not a what if I qualify, right? Well, why don't you turn that into a close? Well, assuming you did,
Right.
What would you do?
Right.
Rather than just answer the question, I'll get you to my lender. That doesn't move you any closer to a decision. John.
Yeah, exactly right. Every time you are asked a question, pause to rephrase your answer in the form of a question. Or a question that will further the conversation down the road and the door that they just opened up for you. We get stuck all the time. Okay, ask a question. I know the answer. This is awesome. I've been in for this answer all day. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
See, it's teeing up the next question for you. So Denny, I apologize. I've got to hop off now.
Yep.
Because I've got an event here at the office coming up in about 10 minutes. I got to prep for. Guys, it was great seeing you. We will catch you next time.
All right, John Boy. Thanks. All right, Louise.
Bye.
Louise. Oh, I'm sorry, Jenny. Jenny, you're up next. Well, right, Jenny,
Yes.
right?
Yes, Denny.
One more thing I wanted to say, Mindy, on your role play and with Sandra. Was everybody leaving now because John leaves? Come on.
No, I'm listening.
You kept talking about rate. And then when you went to payment of $3,500, the thing changed. You guys got to get off rate.
Right.
What
Well, that's
rate?
why I switched to asking how much they were paying.
Yes, but you asked, what does the rate have to get to? Well, what payment would you want? So, okay, that's the only point. All right, Jenny, you have something you want to cover. What is it, please?
Yeah, so I had a couple of objections this week. I was able to get one appointment, but so basically those are the expired listings. When I call, the conversation goes, well, yes, if you have a buyer, bring them in and I will give you 2-week listing or 1-week listing. And I try to go for like, oh, I could do you know what's going on with the market right now type of thing. And, you know, it didn't, I wasn't sure that's the right approach.
Okay, so what's your reception? I got most of that. So you want to be the agent or you want me to be the agent?
You'll be the agent.
Now you're freezing. So shut your video down because you've got a bad internet there, Jen, and see if we can pick you back up in a second.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, there you go. It's better not right now. So are you the agent?
Denny?
Yes. Am I the agent or are you the agent?
You're the agent.
Okay. All right. So let's see if I can, as long as we have reception, we may have to get, bump out of you if we don't have reception. So are we on the phone?
Yes, we're on the phone.
Okay. So you say, hey, look, you know, bring a buyer. So all right. So can I schedule a time to see your house to preview it so I can let my buyers know about it?
Yes, you can, but I'm not going to give you a listing.
Okay. Is it okay if I didn't, you just come to your house and I'm not even going to talk about listing?
Yeah, fine. You can preview it.
All right. First of all, for me, I'm not going to have a conversation about all the stuff on the phone. I want to get in there. I feel like I'm better face to face. I think chances are better face to face, right? Preview the home,
Yes.
build a little rapport, etc. Now, let's say I'm in the home. And so this is the conversation I'd have. So Jenny, so you said on the phone that if I had a buyer, you would give me a one-time listing, correct?
Yes.
And what is a one-time listing in your definition? Remember, we're getting clarity. What does a one-time listing mean to you?
Well, I'll give you a 2-week listing. You can bring the buyer and I'm going to pay you commission.
So if you give me a 2-week listing, do I have a 2-week listing on your house or a 2-week agreement on just that buyer?
On that buyer. I don't want to put my house back on the market.
Okay, so are you saying then that you've already made the decision not to hire an agent to represent you?
Well, you're going to represent me. I'm just going to pay you commission, but I don't mind paying you. I just don't want to list the home.
Well, if you're paying me to bring the buyer, not to represent you. So do you mind if we just have a conversation about maybe strategy for you?
I don't mind.
Okay. I do this for a living and I know, I mean, you probably don't sell houses for a living. So I'm just going to give you some friendly advice, whoever, just like you're my sister. It's fair enough. And I'm going to come across as humble as possible, not like I know it all. So
Okay.
what you're setting yourself up for, Jen, is that you are going to let the buyer say, look, if your buyer buys it, I'm going to pay you. But you're not paying them to represent you. You're paying them to represent the buyer. You're going to court without an attorney.
Okay.
So why would you do that? Why would you do that? Can I just assume you're doing it to save money?
Yes.
Is there any, why else would you do it?
Well, we were on the market and it didn't sell. We're tired of the showings. Market is slow. We're not really wanting to do all the showings and all of that. So we don't want to list it. If you have a buyer, bring the buyer and I will pay you commission and you can represent me. I can pay you commission.
I'm just going to call time here a minute. You guys, when I was growing up, anybody out there remember the original Lost in Space? Danger, Will Robinson. Who remembers that? Gene, you remember that, right? She's not making sense right now. Somebody tell me what you heard that says, wait a minute, this does not compute.
Well, if she wants to give me a commission, then she could list it.
No, well, that's secondary. Where the seller went wrong, where Louise or Jenny went wrong in this particular one, it was the fact I don't want the showings. Yet she is going ahead and if I have a buyer and any other agent in town, there could be 10 of us or 100 of us, give us a one-time listing. And most likely it's a one-time preview, one-time showing. She's doubling the number of people going through her house. Does that make sense?
Yes.
She does not have a gatekeeper, so that's the pain. So let me ask you. So is the main reason is you don't want all this mess and hassle and showing the house, et cetera, et cetera?
Yes.
If I could remove that and you could get your number, can we have a discussion about how that could happen?
Yes, we can.
All right, so I'm not even going to go through all the conversation. However, here's what I wanted to show you guys. I'm going to have a conversation when I preview the house. I'm going to get clarity on really what she wants, because if she wanted to save money, I'd have that conversation. She wants someone to take the hassle away. I'm going to give her a cake and eat it too. I'm going to take the hassle away. How do we take the hassle away, you guys? We have people pre-qualified before they show. More people go into a buy owner because she's really going alone. Who gets a higher percentage of less qualified people? A listed property or unlisted property? Unlisted property. You have a conversation with her about that. I'm gonna be your gatekeeper, and you know what? I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna represent you. Now you're talking into the value proposition, just like if they wanted a discount commission or we're free. I say this all the time: a great listing agent is free to a seller. There's 4 points of negotiation. You got to set the price, etc. Listen, LASIK surgery. I had it like a long time ago. I've watched some YouTube videos. Get a very sharp knife. You can do it yourself. Put an ice cube on your eyeball so it's a little bit numb. Cut, pluck, so you're done.
Denny, I have a question that didn't make sense in that scenario either, is how many listing agreements will you have with agents and how will they succeed in combination with one another? I mean, are you going to have 6 different listing agreements with agents back to back? And then when does your slot fill in? You know, that's confusing.
That's another great angle. So if someone has that approach, and I've heard of it, is it a good model for a seller? Just to be, I'll give you a 2-week listing. No, it's not a proven model. It's kind of like, I think I'm gonna drive to work today blindfolded. That's my model today. I don't think it's a good idea. So I don't think you have a conversation on the phone. I think you have a conversation at the property. And this is, again, the other thing that I set up. Listen, Jenny. I'm gonna talk to you like you're my sister.
But I actually went to the house.
Okay.
But I don't think I went to clarity. I think I went to listing presentation, which is a mistake.
Stay away from presentation. Work on helping it. Jenny, let me just talk to you like you're my best friend, right? Whatever you do, find someone to represent you. I'll apply for the job, or if you don't think I'm qualified, that's okay. But you do not want 15 buyer's agents out there, 15 one-time listing agreements. Now you're doubling the showings, and you're having unqualified people come through, and you have no one to represent you.
Mhm.
So
That makes sense.
Does any comments on that, you guys? Got a couple
I
of
think
minutes.
there's a lot of times people forget, we as realtors forget that this is a relational business. And our sellers, our buyers need to know that we've got their back in all of this. And I think when they know how much we care, not about the sell, but about taking care of their needs, it really does change the dynamics.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome.
So going for like, I with this other gentleman, I just tried a line of where, well, you know how the market is, and you know, it's hard to sell listings that are listed with the agents, let alone you asking me to look for buyers where you've never hired me. Would you develop a line like that to where, like, you know, I have clients that hired me and I need to work for them? Where you asking me to look for a buyer without hiring me?
There is a fault. Those sellers think that they have 15 people with one-time listing agreements. They have a 15 times better chance that their house is going to sell because there's 15 agents working for them, right? In reality, how many agents are working for the seller?
None.
Zero.
None.
Zero.
So we know that. Can you ask questions to help them discover that?
Yes.
Now, as we close on this Friday, as I mentioned, Louise, she's a partner to this. She's got everyone's hands that was raised and participated. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a drawing next Friday and combine the 2 weeks, Louise. So can you keep that handy? And again, you still have the opportunity to participate because we got another minute. If you want to come on and give us an aha, we'll add you. We'll add you to the list. We'll have a drawing next week for a 30-minute coaching call with me that's free. And I'm happy to do it. And sometimes we'll talk about role play. Sometimes we'll talk about whatever else we want to talk about. So did anybody have an aha?
Guys, that's your cue. Just raise your hand. He's telling you if you just raise your hand, you'll be entered into the drawing. Come on, guys.
Oh, it's your digital hand. Sheila, you've already played, so you're already in. Anybody else?
Do I count? I talked.
Yeah, I added you, Sandra.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'll have to give that a free call to John. So
Well, you know what? I'm going to be at your villa this week, so I won't be on here next Friday. So
congratulations on winning the listing contest.
thank you.
Gene, say something. What was your aha? Z, what was your aha?
My aha is the isolation, the way you, when it came to the rental, the way Maddie had isolated and get to the point, the motivation, always finding the motivation. And Louise, Jules, you did total transformation from the beginning to the first time you started, and then the second time you came around, it's like a brand new person. I didn't even know who it was.
It was
Like you changed your mind. Yeah, total
Thank you,
360. So
Gene.
that was
Gene, what was your aha real quick?
Two of them. Every time you are asked the question, pause and rephrase into a question so you can move it further along. Let me talk to you like you're my best friend.
Yeah, just isn't that kind of a cool? I mean, I like that approach. I'm not a salesman. I'm just talking like you're my best friend. Jose, do you have an aha?
Yeah, my aha was wait, you know, why what is it? I think
Why am I talking?
Why am I talking, you know? And just, you know, repositioning myself to ask more questions, and actually allows you, you know, and I've known this for a long time, but the more silence you add to a conversation, the more information people start to divulge just because of the awkwardness of the silence. So you start to pick up some key, you know, nuggets that you can use too against them. So I think it's just a matter of practice.
I'll leave you with this final aha, and I'll thank Jose for giving it to me. What we're teaching you right here, what we're practicing right here, how do you think it works when you're talking to the other agent, when you're preparing to get into negotiation? Don't you think we can start asking them better in silence? I tell you what, sometimes the other agents, they want to make a sale so bad, they'll just spell all kinds of tidbits that they really shouldn't be spelling, that you can use to your client's advantage.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you guys being on Friday. I know there's a lot of places you can go, none more fun than this. And by the way, I didn't say to this to you guys, I talked to Recon today. It's National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. So go and have your cookies and milk. Love you, meet it, not the bump. Be careful out there. Thank you guys for your help.
Bye, y'all.